What is up guys, it's Solheim here, back with another Wrath of the Lich King Classic video. Today we are talking about the fresh Wrath of the Lich King Classic servers, which are coming out with the Wrath pre-patch, which is quite literally right around the corner. Like, look behind you, it's probably right there right now. More specifically though, we are talking about how you can make insane gold on these fresh servers. And before any of you ask, yes, gold will matter a lot on these fresh servers, both in terms of the short term and in the long term. Short term, people will need a bunch of gold to learn their abilities while leveling up, learn mount riding, flying, epic flying, dual talent specialization, you name it, people will need thousands of gold. Long term, server transfers will eventually open up to these servers, which opens up the floodgate for people to transfer over with lots of gold, in which case the cost of useful items will go up by a bunch. So if you invest your gold into the right items, you can literally multiply your gold. Personally, I would say that anyone just starting Wrath of the Lich King Classic, or anyone with less than 15,000 gold on their current account, will benefit a lot more from going to these fresh servers, specifically when it comes to gold making. Before we talk about making gold on the fresh servers though, let's shout out today's sponsor, myself. I've made and published my own gold making guide for Wrath Classic, which now also contains an extension for these fresh servers, giving you even more information on how to make gold both on the current progressive servers and on these fresh servers. This gold guide contains gold farms, investments, which professions to choose, which class to choose, different items to buy and resell, different auction house strategies, and way more. So if you're looking to get rich and gold capped in Wrath, make sure to check out that gold guide through the link down below and use the code Solheim to get it for half price. Once you purchase the guide, you will also get access to an exclusive gold making Discord server for Wrath Classic, and you will also receive all of the future updates to the guide for free, always keeping you up to date with the best and most relevant gold making information. Okay, so let's start the fun. First up, let's talk about gathering professions, which is probably the safest and the easiest way to make gold on these fresh servers, but it also requires you to put time into farming. You are basically trading your time for gold, and herbalism plus mining is a very safe way to farm heaps of gold. On these fresh servers, materials from both herbalism and mining will be in insane demand, as people will need these materials to skill up alchemy, inscription, blacksmithing, engineering and jewel crafting, all of which are really popular professions. This means that you can make really good gold per hour with both herbalism and mining, even while leveling up, and you don't have to just farm in outland zones in order to make really good gold on these servers. In fact, the older zones where you have to walk around on your ground mount could potentially offer you even more gold per hour than the outland zones eventually. So my one advice for you here is to keep in mind that you can farm in old zones and still make profit, so go out and test multiple different zones to see the price of different materials, as well as check how much competition there is in that area. Now, before we move on to crafting professions, I know I did not talk about skinning in the gathering profession section, and I left that out on purpose because I simply don't think skinning is or will be as profitable as herbalism plus mining. So here is your reminder to pick something else than skinning, unless you for some reason are hella bent on having skinning. So, crafting professions. This is where a lot of the fun begins, and you can make profit in many different ways with crafting professions. The first thing I will say here is that when it comes to making gold with crafting professions on fresh servers, is that you need to think outside the box. In TBC Classic right now, and in Wrath of the Lich King, you will obviously be able to make profit by crafting and selling, for example, flasks and potions with alchemy. But the profit from that will likely actually be negative on these fresh servers. People will most likely sell the potions and flasks for less than they paid for the materials, just to get some gold back. Plus people won't need flasks or potions, because a lot of people won't do any raiding on these servers before Wrath actually comes out. Therefore, you need to think about supply and demand in a way different scenario than our current TBC servers, and while I will reserve reserve most of the information from my Fresh WOTLK guide to keep the profit margins on the high end for the most profitable crafts. I will give you some tips and tricks in this video as well, but seriously, if you are dedicated to making gold in Wrath, I do recommend checking out my gold guide, not just because it's my product, but because I really do believe it will have the information and the value that you are looking for. Okay, so first off, what will everyone need on these Fresh servers? Obviously bags, while leveling up and at max level. Therefore, tailoring is actually a very viable profession on these servers. While leveling up, you can passively find cloth, and you can use tailoring to turn that cloth into bags. At the beginning, this won't give you too much gold, but you also have to remember that at the very beginning, every single raw gold will have incredible purchasing power. So while you might only sell a bag for like 1 or 2 gold, you can invest that 1 to 2 gold and make a bunch of profit later. You can also farm up heaps of netherweave cloth once you're level 70 and sell 16 slot bags, which will actually be quite lucrative here. Next up, Inscription. So Inscription will require materials from herbalism, so it will be an expensive profession to skill up, but there is one system coming with Inscription that will make you a lot of gold on these Fresh servers, and that is glyphs. Glyphs are something that everyone will want, so once again, the demand is very high here, and because materials from herbalism will be quite expensive, there could be some supply issues here. Potential low supply and very high demand will make for some incredibly profitable trades. Additionally, here's a way to make a lot of gold regardless of your class or professions. I seriously recommend everyone do this, as it's a lot of raw gold. Do dungeons from level 58 to level 70, then go back and do the quests at level 70 instead. This will convert any experience to gold instead, so you will get more than twice as much gold from questing, effectively giving you roughly 5,000 raw gold from doing all the quests in Outland. You can also scale this up even further by doing the Isle of Quel'Dana's daily quest, which should give you a couple hundred gold per hour if you set it up correctly, especially if you combine that with other daily quests as well. Basically, save up as many quests as possible for level 70 and do as many dailies as possible at level 70. Quests will give you raw gold, and raw gold is king on these Fresh servers. Now that we have talked about how to farm gold and how to make gold, let's talk about what to do with that gold. Investing. Investing is one way to make sure that your gold's value don't fall off due to inflation, so make sure you invest into the right items here, and you can multiply your gold several times over. I am not exaggerating when I say investing is a huge profit. I turned roughly 500 gold into 25,000 gold with 1 item investment from Classic WoW to TBC Classic, so you can make a lot of gold here. The majority of my investments are in my gold guide, but I also want to give you some for free. So if you're investing in the first 2 weeks of these Fresh servers, invest into herbalism and mining materials. Everyone will be busy leveling up their characters in this period, but once people hit max level, they will start working on their crafting professions. So basically, the first 2 weeks, buy herbs and ores, and then the next 2 weeks, sell those herbs and ores. For long-term Wrath investing, you can look at for some cheap flame caps, golden pearls, righteous orbs, and twink items, mostly for level 19 and 29 twinks. I don't think twinking is going to be very huge in Wrath, but a lot of people leveling up on these Fresh servers, like with so many people leveling up, you might be able to cop some really cheap twink items, so there could be some really decent profit here. And yeah, that is pretty much it guys, a quick tips and tricks video on how to make insane gold on Fresh Wrath servers through both gathering, crafting, questing and investing. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to the channel for more Wrath videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.